The Wizard101 community is absolutely in flames over the latest tweet from the Wizard101 account. And this one is about the chargeback issues, y'all. And we gotta talk about this because honestly, this tweet, it concerns me, concerns a lot of people. What exactly is this tweet about, right? It's actually a cautionary tweet because they've seen a rise, I would assume, of people literally charging back crowns and innocent ass players getting affected by it. How do chargebacks work, right? So let's say that Timmy, spends, a bunch of money, his Christmas money, maybe, I don't know, on 80,000 crowns or something, right? And then instead of using those 80,000 crowns on himself, maybe he buys it in the form of a gift certificate and gives it to somebody else in exchange for something else, like maybe money or empowers. Maybe he gifts one of his friends all of those crowns. Maybe man's, spams them with, Perot's potions, energy elixirs, packs, whatever it is. Basically, he doesn't end up with the items from those crowns. What if Timmy had a devious idea to charge back the money after gifting or giving away the crowns that he bought? All he would have to do is file a dispute on PayPal or with his credit card, say, yo, I did not receive the goods that I paid for, and suddenly here's what happens. Wizard101 is out all the money that Timmy paid for those crowns, and there's a wizard just running around in the spiral with up to 80,000 crowns of stuff, or just 80,000 crowns that they didn't pay for. Wizard101's policy on this has been something that a lot of people have had a huge issue with. Normally what happens when, let's say, an innocent player is a victim of this chargeback situation, they'll be temporarily suspended, and whoever, is a perpetrator of this, they'll have to be investigated, and during that time, you can't play the game. It's probably the ugliest situation I've ever seen in Wizard101, because on one end, you have a company that doesn't want to just lose money to a bunch of scammers that have no lives, and you have a bunch of players that all they want to do is play the game, and from their perspective, they didn't steal money from King's Hall. Maybe they received a gift, maybe even involuntarily received a gift, or maybe they paid in one form or another for crowns from somewhere else. From their perspective, they probably didn't do anything wrong. There's no right or wrong side here. At the end of the day, it's a big scamming situation that's on the rise. What I wanted to make today's video on, though, was how you can prevent this from happening to you, and also, hopefully, how Wizard101 can drastically improve their response on this. As far as players, now, this is actually in the message boards. I think they added this recently, but you have to click on a couple of extra links, so I just wanted to put it in this video. But they actually, put a list of websites where I assume what's happening, right? There's, crowns that are being sold, as in it's not the Wizard101 website. People are buying them, and then chargebacks are happening, and a lot of chaos is ensuing from that. So the websites that they put in the message board, just in case these are, they happen to be websites where you get your crowns. And Eba, Mozilo, G2A, Scratch Monkey. I'm just reading it off of a screen. I wouldn't trust those, honestly, just based on their name alone, but hopefully people are not trusting these. This should be not anything beyond common sense. Crowns are owned by King's Isle, so you should buy them from Wizard101. This shouldn't actually be a crazy thing. I think the reason that people even buy from these third-party websites is because they're at a discount, but that's kind of the whole point. They reel you in with discounts, and then they charge back, sometimes with stolen credit cards. So literally there's no way to track them. You will have to foot that bill. Is this the player's fault in that situation? Absolutely not, in my opinion. I want to clarify this, and this is honestly why I think, I don't know, maybe the wording on the tweet, I definitely feel like it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I honestly felt it felt a little weird. While the tweet did, encourage the Wizards of the Spiral to take caution when it comes to where they get gift certificates, where they get crowns, all that, I feel like it could have done a much better job of just saying, yo, there's a scam going around, be careful. I don't know why it didn't get to that point right away. Instead, it said there are people taking advantage of your trusting nature. I don't give a damn about people taking advantage of me. What's the scam? Where's the scam? That should have been the bottom line of this tweet. And while I do think some people in the comment section of that tweet got carried away, I think some of them have very valid points. The tweet feels like it's blaming victims, which is honestly the issue that people have. People feel like their accounts are being held hostage when they unknowingly fell for a scam. So let's talk about what Wizard101 can do a lot better in scenarios like this. In my previous video, I talked about how they should have a different sort of suspension if your wizard is just suspected of being a part of a chargeback. I do understand why there might need to be some sanctions on your account, but there does not need to be literally an inability for you to access the game, in my opinion. I think maybe being restrained within Wizard City so you can still do stuff like Pet Train, PvP, Beast Moon, all that stuff. And there's also like clearly a policy that Wizard101 has where in order to regain access to your account, you actually do have to pay. Now, I think this is specifically not around in-game items. Let's get that clear because I think this is something that we need to understand fully. I think if someone gifts you and then they charge back, I think what happens is you're temporarily suspended, which is still stupid. They figure out who charged back through the in-game item feature, right? Like they'll figure out like who gifted, you know, how they paid for it. They'll get banned and then you'll get unsuspended. But I think there are scenarios where let's say that you enter like a Discord giveaway, right? Like a giveaway on Discord. Let's say the crowns in that giveaway are from one of those sketchy websites I read out earlier. You could be doing something as innocent as thinking you won a giveaway on Discord. It was from a website that you had nothing to do with. And then suddenly, because those crowns are, you know, fake because essentially they got charged back, now you have to pay the money for it yourself in order to gain access back to your account. I think there's something deeply wrong with that. And honestly, I get it. It's a complicated issue. In fact, I think people are oversimplifying the issue. Like if I'm really being honest, let's say that KingsOwl does nothing about these chargebacks. Well, guess what? Everyone who's scamming innocent ass players will continue to do it, and that's not good for the health of a community long term. You can't just let a bunch of people scam the players at a large scale. That's a terrible concept. But unless you can directly prove that, you know, someone literally accessed one of those third-party websites to get these crowns, how do you know who's actually more innocent than, you know, like than the next guy? How do you differentiate between someone who directly bought from, I don't know, G2A versus someone who, you know, just accepted a gift or like won a giveaway on Discord and that code wasn't even bought by them originally, right? That I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but that's a messy situation. It's like somebody has to pay, but very rarely will the person who actually did something wrong pay for it. So because you don't know who's actually in the wrong when it comes to who bought from where or who charged back this, because it's so hard to prove that, I don't think the player who's gotten like, you know, charged back on basically, like, I don't think they should need to pay real money to get access back to their account. If the idea is that they either have crowns that they didn't pay for or items from those crowns that they didn't pay for, there should be a way to refund those. Let's say someone used a bunch of energy elixirs and a bunch of, you know, pets were made with that. Those pets should be deleted. I don't think that's crazy. If you didn't actually make those pets with money that you paid for, I guess. And I get that, like, let's say that it's a large scale, right? Like, let's say multiple purchases were made by one chunk of crowns that was charged back on. Yes, that's hard to refund every item, but in my opinion, that's miles and miles better than having someone have to pay money back just to play the game again. The reason for that is simple, right? Let's say that I've spent hundreds of dollars on my main account and then I won a Discord giveaway for like $5 worth and that gets charged back. Now, their policy, if they can't actually find out who specifically to sanction, that I have to pay the $5 back to gain access back to my account, what about the hundreds of dollars I spent before that? At that point, I'd be basically being held hostage for $5 when I've actually spent way more money on this game. That's a little bit of a crazy situation. So if you have leftover crowns, they should take those out, and whatever crown, and if that's not an option, then whatever items you got from the crowns that you shouldn't have gotten to begin with, those should be taken away. I feel like that is the only fair option. That way people aren't encouraged to actually seek out these scams, but also people that actually didn't knowingly do anything wrong, they're not getting punished that hard. And I know what I'm asking for there is sophisticated, like, I get it. Like, you might make hundreds of purchases with like 10,000 crowns even. I don't know, maybe I'm exaggerating, but you get the idea, right? To track down each of those purchases and like take them out of your account, yeah, it's a lot, but at the end of the day, I feel like if you care about your customer base, you gotta take moves like that. I've thought long and hard about this while making this video, and to me, that feels like the only fair option that they should actually go after, other than just reducing the frequency of the scams by keeping the player base informed about where they are happening. So a tweet like the one they put out, it needs to get to the point a lot quicker. Be like, yo, this is the root of the issue. It's not players falling for scams, it's the scams themselves. And there needs to be a level of understanding when doling out sanctions when it comes to these, because at the end of the day, all you're doing is affecting people that actually play the game and love it. To me, that's one of the only suggestions that they could possibly do where both parties win, right? As in, you don't have to pay money, like, you know, in order to gain access to your account, because that's just crazy. And if you actually end up getting a lot of advantages over crowns that nobody really paid for, you know, okay, don't have those advantages, right? Don't have those pets, those pags, whatever, right? Like that is, I feel like that's fair. Let me know what you guys think about this whole chargeback thing. This is the third video I've made on this, but I feel like this is something that so many people are talking about right now. I wanted to talk about it from my perspective, which I would hope is one that feels more unbiased, because, you know, you gotta understand why these things are happening to even give feedback, in my opinion. Let me know y'all's opinions on this. Do you guys think that Wizard101 could do other things to deal with chargebacks? What do you guys think players could do other than just inform each other? There's all kinds of ways to look at this issue. Let me know. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video. Leave us up if you're new. And as always, if somebody hasn't told you you're awesome today, they doing something wrong. I'll see y'all soon. Stay awesome, y'all. And yeah.